Acknowledge me.
Leveled by Marvin Constant, the redshirt freshman out of Tuscaloosa.
Oh, they go by now. Let him know he don't want to stop. 65 yards as the ball was thrown away from the line of scrimmage. Gerald Dixon.
Hey, you forgot to see my book.
And proper.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. It is Tuesday night. That means the Bama Standard is on air. And after one of the biggest wins of the 2024 season, we'll talk a little bit about that. We're going to give you a little bit of Vandy. We got a great guest coming up at 6:30 p.m. Central, so get ready. Before we get started, we got to talk about the people who help keep the lights on for us. If your business needs a digital presence, a full-fledged marketing team, SEO, or any other business need, these are the guys you need coaching up your team. Visit them at workspacepros.com today. Hey, live chat, let's do our thing. Let's celebrate the victory. Let's talk about what's ahead. Let's get involved tonight. If you got questions, we're going to pin them. We're going to answer them at the end of the show. Get very involved. If you're watching the replay, get in the comment section below. Show us some love there. Show us how much that you love us and tell us what you think. We value it greatly. Hit that like and subscribe button again. With me, as always, is the living legend, the undefeated, undisputed king of comedy. He's everybody's cousin and the star of the show, ladies and gentlemen, Steve Brown.
What's up, guys? Roll Tide, fellas. Great win this weekend. Win to me felt like a loss, but a win, but a loss. And we'll talk about that later on in the show. But hey, glad to be here. Let's roll.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then we got a 1999 all SEC linebacker. When Ric Flair said to be the man, woo, you got to beat the man. He is that man, Marvin Constant.
Yo, it's a pleasure to be with you. I got to say it. If you were not in Bryant-Denny Stadium this past Saturday, you missed a damn moment, baby. Whoa!
Yes, sir. We're going to hear about your adventures. Just above him is a living legend himself. He's an all-SEC defensive back. He's also part of Bill's Mafia as a player and a scout. He has coached his way around these here United States, and he's one of the best analysts and evaluator of talents. Ladies and gentlemen, Smoke Dixon is in the building.
Fellas, what's going on? Marv, you had to show us something like that because we wasn't in T-Town enjoying a good festival.
I know, man, right?
But it's all good, though. We'll catch the next one, though, Steve. We'll catch the next one.
Gerald, I will tell you this. That is the most electric and the loudest I've ever seen or heard. Brian, it was crazy.
Only can imagine, good brother, especially on that last touchdown.
And apparently Stephen M. Smith is still recovering. He's MIA right now. We're still trying to locate him. When we do, we'll bring him on with all the news that is news and the injury report. We got some questions about one Kendrick Law, but we'll get to all of that momentarily. But fellas, we're going to celebrate a win. It was a huge win. Tremendous. Kalen DeBoer statement victory over Kirby Smart. That's freaking amazing. Jalen Milroe, Heisman Trophy kind of night. Ryan Williams sets the world on fire. Offensive line against the best defense in the country. How many sacks, guys? 0. None. Absolutely amazing. But, Steve, you kind of alluded to where I'm going with this first topic here. We nearly lost that game. It took dramatic things happening by one Ryan Williams to pull it out. And why did we have to do that? Well, there are glaring problems. I hate to rain on your parade, guys. Anybody who's watching the audience, I hate to rain on your parade, but we're the show that has to shoot it straight. We got to talk about what is ultimately going to take for us to get to that college football playoff and the ultimate goal, the national championship. To get there, we have to be great. We got to eliminate the things that aren't so great. So let's talk about the issues. Smoke, I'm going to start with you because it's an issue you've been harping on for quite some time, and Bama fans have had issue with, and that's undisciplined penalties. We had 10 for 90 against Georgia. This seems to be a recurring thing at year after year after year. So I want you first to talk to me about what you're seeing that may be causing this every year. But then I want you as a former coach to get in that locker room and talk to me and talk to us. Tell us what you tell the players about how this needs to be fixed right now and what ultimately is on the line.
Well, the way I always look at it, and I always tell my team when I was coaching is, what you accept in a win, don't complain about it in a loss. Again, what you accept in a win, don't complain about it later on in a loss. You're going to have to celebrate it the same way. It's a life learning lesson that you learn in football. And I say that, and when you look at it, I'm talking about the penalties, but there's aggressive penalties. Marvin, you and I both understand the ones that if you're coming in and you're making a big hit and your head slightly slides up and you make a head contact with the guy and you get a roughing the penalty, it's okay. That's an aggressive one. If it's a pass interference because it's a bang-bang play, you live with those as a coach. But the ones that's tough to live with are the drive killers, non-negotiable ones. With an explosive play, not being a part of the play, on the backside of the play, holding, taking back an explosive 25-plus yard play or a scoring play. We saw that the first game. We saw that the second game, third, and also this game. It didn't bite us in the butt because we're up by 4 touchdowns. But when it comes back around, it's going to hurt us again. Now, when you get into the green zone, and when I say green zone, that's the 20 yards in. You're still having penalties in the green and the red zone that are taking points off the board. If you continuously take points off the board, at some point, fellas, you know, it's going to hit you, and it's going to hit you when it gets you. When it gets you, it's going to hurt. So those penalties, yes, you have to clean up, but those are the penalties that you harp on during the off season, because those are the little things that you have to clean up in terms of details. It's okay, Tyler Booker, to be physical, but when a guy's on the ground and you're trying to rub him into the ground, there's an official that's standing right behind you, looking at the 5 offensive linemen, 4 defensive linemen. There's the umpire behind the defensive line that's responsible for that. So you can't do that when the play's already downfield. A positive yards. So again, I say it. Be careful what you cheer for, and you take in on the win that you'll complain about it when you take that L and curse the players when you don't.
Smoke, you know what, man? I agree wholeheartedly on everything you said, man. But to me, man, the game, it was like all focus, everybody's paying attention to detail the first half. The second half, I think this is where Bama has to mature and grow up. And, they go to the locker room and they have a party and they forget that they're playing Georgia or playing anybody. And it reminds me of, I'm sure y'all remember this, the Atlanta Falcons when they played the New England Patriots. They were up, and I think they were playing the Georgia Dome. I don't know where they're playing.
I think they were up 28-3.
Right. So they go in at halftime, and then they leave the Georgia Dome and go to the strip club and never come back. But Tom Brady, he stays, and that was the results. And it kind of happened with Carson Beck, the Georgia's quarterback. It happened when he stayed. He played his game, and we almost gave the game away. But other than that, man, I think that the kids have to learn how to finish. Another concern that I have, the D-line has to put more pressure on the quarterback.
We're getting to that.
I'm sorry. Did I jump the gun?
No, you didn't.
That's okay. I love your excitement because this is something we definitely need to touch on.
Yeah.
One of the things that stood out most to me, my coach, Jeff Rousey, used to drive this into my brain on a daily basis. Know the sticks, down and damn distance. He used to make me call it out every play in practice and in the game for one reason and one reason only. You know what the team needs. So you know if they need 5 yards, then play the damn sticks. You know if they need a half a foot, it's highly likely that they're going to try to do a quarterback snap, audible, some stuff like that to where they make you jump off sides with the hard count. You know they're going to run a dive. Georgia was 5 for 5 on 4th down. You let a team go 5 for 5 on 4th down, in most cases you lose. That is a hard stat to overcome. So, again, that comes back to knowing the down and distance and what a team needs. Hell, you know if they need 6 yards, play the damn sticks. Right. You know they need 8, play the damn sticks. Right. It ain't hard. And one thing that I like, I'm going to give them a little grace in one area. Smoke, you'll understand what I'm saying. When a team is down by that amount of points, in most cases, they're going to come out in their 2-minute offense.
Mhm.
2-minute offense is one of the most difficult damn things to stop in football. I'm sorry, it is. No matter if it's the third quarter or the fourth quarter, last 2 minutes to go. When a team goes into that hurry up 2-minute offense, it is hard to damn stop.
Well, Marvin, it seems like to me, and I know I'm jumping the gun. It seems like to me that Bama came out in the 2-minute offense, and then when they went to the when they went into halftime, they just forgot about the game. But go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right. In the midst of that great assessment, we have the missing Stephen M. Smith right here. Welcome back, Stephen M. Smith. Glad that you're okay after a tremendous victory. And I guess you just tied up the loose ends on your celebration. Is that correct?
Man, he been in that communion wine. What can I let communion wine?
Look, man, look. So, in honor of this show, I'm no longer in the deacon chair because I had to be in the show.
He done backslid.
So I chill out, Steve.
You're a backslider.
Chill out, man. So here we go. To me, and I came in on this conversation, I thought the biggest thing was, y'all, Nick Sheridan took his foot off the gas. He took his foot off. And that first half, they were killing Kirby. I've never seen Kirby that confused. The first half, Sheridan is hitting them empty set, different look, different formation, different everything. Tight ends got the ball. Like this was C.J. Dupree's best game with Alabama. He had 4 catches. Ryan Williams got his. Milroe looked as good as we've ever seen him look. So for you to have that type of first half, but you didn't have a counter. That's the thing. We all know Kirby Smart's going to adjust. His staff's been together for 9 years. They're going to adjust. So for Nick Sheridan, it was, where's your counter punch? Do you put this thing on the back of your offensive line and run the football, which what you needed to do, you didn't do that. And because you didn't have that counter, it allowed Georgia back in the football game.
Justin, can I follow on that?
Had 5 carries.
Yes, I get one real quick.
6.
Right. So what I would say to follow what you just said, Stephen M., you're 100% correct. But I wouldn't say it was a first half. It was really a first quarter.
Right.
All the script.
And then when you look at saying that he took his foot off the gas, I don't think that was necessarily the case. When you go through it as a coach, the first quarter is what you practice for. You had that entire bye week to prepare for what Georgia was going to show you. So you schemed Georgia up perfectly.
You did.
It played out. It played out exactly the way that you wanted it to. But like Marvin and I both understand that's coach, and Stephen B., you coach too. It's not what you do during the week of practice that separates you as a coach. It's what you do in terms of in-game adjustment as a coach that separates you now from the rest of the coaches. And I've said it from the beginning of the season, and I'll say it again. I don't believe that Alabama is doing a very good job of adjusting, of having good in-game adjustments during the game. Their prep work for the week, outstanding.
Smoke.
In-game adjustments, I don't see it that high. In terms of even – go ahead, sir.
I want you to add this to your point. When they running plays off the script versus when the script ends, how does it go?
They are checking out at a high clip of 90% scoring, Marvin. And you see it. But when it's off script and it's now time to adjust because Kirby's now adjusting to you. Kirby came out and threw that 3-2-5 look where they had 2 spies and 3 down linemen in the second half and started playing man-to-man coverage. Yeah, we didn't have any answers for that. That's when you go back to your bags of, okay, mesh crossers. You can also now involve Jalen Milroe again in terms of being a runner. And I didn't think that we came back to that as many times as we should have.
Great stuff, Smoke. I'll remind everyone, our guest will be here in about 15 minutes, so y'all get ready for London Simmons. We're still talking about, the great victory, but what's missing. Let's go back to something that Steve mentioned earlier, and we've got a former damn good linebacker on this panel. Now, the lack of pass rush is disturbing. Shout out to Deontay Lawson for that sack Saturday. Great young man, but I'm looking at Carson Beck's jersey. That thing is virtually spotless the entire rest of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So, Marvin, I want you to take this right here. Yeah, being a former linebacker, being the captain of the defense, because you were in your day. I know this is frustrating as hell. So I want you to look at this a different ways. One, if you can kind of locate the cause of the lack of pass rush, and if you're not locker room right now, what are you doing to correct this?
Well, one of the most glaring things that stands out to me why there's a lack of pass rush is because we don't have that Will Anderson. We don't have those guys who commands that double team. Because when you have a guy that commands that double team, usually that's going to free up the guy on the backside, or it's going to free up one of your defensive tackles who can win those one-on-one matchups inside. So until we get that guy who can command that double team, and it's, and puts the numbers in our favor, we're going to continue to have this problem. But again, when you have that one guy who's that eraser, that separator, who's going to command a double team, that's when you see the sack numbers go up. So, me personally as a defensive player, middle linebacker, I mean, there ain't much middle linebacker can do in this situation. Because again, all you can do is call, adjust the front, do whatever it is. But until you have that one guy, whether it's that edge rusher or if you got a defensive tackle as well who's commanding a double team, that's how you get your sack numbers up. And we don't have that right now. So everybody's getting blocked one-on-one.
Yep.
The numbers are even.
Now, Steve, this plays into one of the problems you had this past Saturday and something that we've talked about. We have a young secondary, right?
Mm-hmm.
For young dudes, talented, but young dudes. And we've been talking up to this point, well, they haven't been tested. They got tested. Now, when they are being tested, they kind of abandoned fundamentals and forgot to turn around and look for the ball. Locating the ball was one of the biggest problems we had in that second half. So talk to me about what you saw and tell me the level of concern you have for this. And then do you think that the lack of pass rush may also be leading to some of their early struggles?
Well, I think that the lack of pass rush is of course you just can't let a quarterback like Carson Beck sit in the pocket and that long and not being touched. Number two, I feel like again our secondary is young. I think they grew up this past weekend, but again they came out the second half and they weren't focused like they weren't locked in. You could tell the body language, you could tell on the simple mistakes they were making that they didn't make the first half. So they weren't completely locked in. And I think that's due to them being young. So again, it's the defensive pass rush and them just being young. And I think that the coaches will address it. I'm in big time this week. I really believe that.
Steve, I think you touched on a great point, but there's a couple of things. Been coaching DBs all my life and playing corner. It's one of the hardest.
Should I ask you that question?
No, he asked the right person.
But you're the star.
He asked the right person.
Did.
It's one of the most difficult things to teach a defensive back is to locate the ball in flight if you're not a natural receiver. And that's why when you recruit players, you always want to recruit receivers to play DB, because if you recruit DBs to play DB, they don't naturally understand when the ball is coming, and they lose ball skills and the ability to locate the ball in terms of ball production over a period of time. But this, go ahead, sir.
Can I ask you this real quick? Not to cut you off, but I think I was listening to one of the DB coaches or the defense coordinator. They were talking about how the DBs were kind of doing drills where they watch the quarterback's eyes and then they go to where the ball is. And it's like, well, but the receiver can do a double route or anything while you're watching the quarterback. And that's kind of like.
Right. And I'll answer that for you well, too.
Go ahead, sir.
So I'm speaking on the corners first. So the one thing that I always did when I coach corners, once you get past 20 yards and you have that receiver in phase, in control, that means you're running hip to hip, side to side. Yeah, look and lean and locate the ball and locate the quarterback, because you're now essentially the receiver. So after 20 yards, there's only two routes you're going to run. It's either a post or vertical, and both of those routes are vertical and balls coming over your head. But it's hard to play with your back to the quarterback and your head turned around, and every crazy DB coach is going to say, well, just play through the hand or play through the body. No, that's how you get PIs. Now, what you're saying That's where you saw Keon Sabb get beat on the double move and busted coverage. Because now he's playing with poor eye discipline. Poor eye discipline means and you are looking at the quarterback and not your threats. As a DB, you understand who your threats are. Most of the time, safety's going to be responsible for the number 2 and the number 3 receivers. And if you're counting like everybody does in the United States from left to right or right to left, you count from outside and you go 1, 2, 3. The outside guy is always number 1. The most inside guy is number 3. And all you're going to do for the most part is count to 4. So if I'm responsible for number 2 and number 3, if number 2 goes under, my eyes need to go to number 3 and just locate where he's at with my ability to peripher the quarterback so I understand what's threatening me and what can beat me. Because that receiver can beat me right now. That quarterback is a threat to me. Beating and a threat is 2 different things. Threat might happen. Beating is going to happen to you if that comes on you right away.
Okay. Makes sense.
All right. Nicely done, gentlemen. I love that. I asked the star first, and he set up a great follow-up. Love that. Teamwork.
The star's like, I don't know what the hell going on. Jared, smoke you up. That's what the star said.
We have just a few more minutes until our guest arrives. But Stephen and Smith, I want to turn to you right now. You are the eyes on the field, the boots on the ground. And one of the things that we have been talking about since Saturday is poor clock management at the worst possible times. Now, you have been spending time with coaches and players since then. How is Kalen DeBoer and his staff addressing this? Or are they addressing this? Because this could really be an issue later on when we go to Knoxville or Baton Rouge, so on and so forth. Talk to us about how this issue is being addressed.
Well, the main thing, guys, is being able to sustain drives offensively. That's the main thing. And Kalen DeBoer has talked about it. As much as we want to be explosive, and that's a good thing, we also got to learn and understand how to put together drives to finish and put teams away. That's the main thing. And imagine the clock on top of that, because I was watching the game, and several moments the ball is snapped before the clock gets down. Like, you have the lead, take the clock down more before you snap the football. There was several drives where, you got 25-second clock here. Jalen Miro is already snapping the ball at 15. Like, wait till that gets down some more. So, and I think DeBoer didn't catch it until middle of the fourth quarter. And that's when he finally started to see, oh, wait, we're snapping this to early. You got to catch that faster than that. You got to catch that. So I think he saw it. Nick Sheridan saw it. They're taking this as, if we have the lead, and we know we got to put a game away, we got to take the clock.
Learn how to finish.
You can't allow teams like Georgia. You can't allow Tennessee coming up down the stretch here. You can't allow teams that have firepower on offense to have time.
And you got to take something into account, man. I'm telling you, this is a huge part of finishing games and putting teams away. You have to pound their defense into submission. You have Jam and Justice.
I was just about to say that. Why did we use
between the two of them? Why the hell are we not running it between the damn tackles, making them pay, taking time off the clock, wearing that damn defense down?
Okay, Marvin. Okay, so Marvin, I'm glad you brought that up, because that very same question was asked to Nick Sheridan. That very same question. And so Sheridan talked about, the communication with the offensive line on a few of those runs wasn't what we thought. Well, what was wrong with that then? You brought over Parker Brasford. There should not be a communication issue. There shouldn't be a communication issue. You brought Parker over here. He's supposed to solve the communication thing.
But what does communication have to do with one of them getting 5 carries and the other one doing 6 carries? That's the coach.
Let me fix this. All right.
Please fix it, sir. We like when you fix things.
Marvin, you and Steven hit both of it on the head. But here's what happens, all right? Okay. I think the coaches got ahead of themselves because they didn't think it was supposed to happen like this, and it did.
I believe that.
They weren't comfortable coaching in this situation. Acknowledge it and just say, hey, listen, that's on us. Second, in football, Marvin, everyone that's played, you understand that 4-minute drill. Once you get halfway through the third quarter into the fourth quarter, essentially, you're going to a 4-minute situation. where it's not that you're changing the way that you're calling your offense, but you understand clock and situation. That's 1,000% on the coach. Second, there's a technology now inside the quarterback's helmet that he can go from coach to quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
That there's no excuse to not understand how to operate the clock in a 2-minute, 4-minute, or a time that you want to waste as much time away from the game, that the coach can't get in your ear and say, hey, listen, Jalen, you've given us 374 yards in the air. You've given us 3 touchdowns, 150-something yards in terms of understanding that you're a runner. You've done everything. So as a coach, and I'm getting paid $1 million or $2 million, the other guy's getting paid $10 million, we're going to take this one out of your hands, and we're going to put it solely on us. This is what we got for you. Don't snap the ball until we have 5 seconds on the clock, and that goes for everybody. It has nothing to do with the center. It has 100% to do with the head coach that wants to argue with the referee or the OC that's not prepared for this situation. They were just unprepared. Just say, listen, learn.
Hey, Smoke, but another thing, all they had to do. Go ahead, Mama.
We've all been in a situation where we had leads, and we were like, we may not have expected to have the lead, but as a coach, when you know you have this cushion, this buffer, common sense is going to tell you, eat the clock, run the damn ball, wear the defense out, so in the fourth quarter, you can wear the ass out some more and finish the ass off.
Marvin, hey, you know what? Hey, Smoke, another thing. Let me tell you something, man. This didn't take a rocket scientist, man. Listen, he didn't even have to call the play. All he had to say, y'all line up and run the ball. We don't give a damn where you run it. Just run it. Just wait to 5 seconds and run the ball. That's it. And because think about it. Every time we pass the ball and it was an incomplete pass, the clock stops. Mm-hmm. You're giving Georgia life.
Not only that, but if you're going to snap the ball with 20 seconds left on the clock, you're doing up-tempo at this point. Keep running the damn ball. Make the defense tired. Don't give them a chance to substitute. It's so many things you could have damn done if this was
Marvin, you know the rules, man. When you're wasting time, and when you're on offense and your ball carrier, you get up slow. When you're on defense, you lay on them as long as possible until that referee pulls you off. Yeah. 4-minute offense, you do it every Thursday, and you talk through it on Friday in terms of your script.
Now, see
those are the things that are 100% necessary in every single building in the United States if you want to call yourself a championship winning team. This is day one install information that most Pop Warner teams, I know good high school teams, and really, really good college teams have. And if you're missing that from experienced coaches, I mean, you can't blame the players for not understanding that. But now that Jalen Milroe is going into his second year and has been through all this, now this is where he starts getting that understanding of, I am the leader. I'm an experienced quarterback. I've been through this. It's a learning situation for all of us. So when we do run up on that again, we understand that we have to run the ball. And again, Bama has not been able to run the ball when they wanted to and dictate the line of scrimmage. On 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1 again, they weren't getting first down. They have not gotten first down this entire season. That's another issue that we need to lean on.
Well, he got to take more accountability.
All right.
How many times I got in trouble for calling defenses other than what Ellis Johnson told me to call? If I didn't like it, I called what I wanted to. He got to own it.
All right. That's some great stuff. Real quick, I want to remind everyone who is now watching our stream on Twitter, if you're there, go over to our YouTube channel and subscribe. We want you a part of the family. We got to have you here on all of our special events. So jump from Twitter over to our YouTube channel, the Bama Standard Network. Click on subscribe, turn on all the notifications. Before our guest comes on, I want to remind everyone the season is underway. You cannot properly celebrate Alabama football and cheer them on to the college football playoffs without your title towel. Go to whitwillsports.com today. After the show, of course, enter that promo code STANDARD. Get you a nice discount courtesy of your favorite network, the Bama Standard Network. That's right. Get a title towel today. Take one to Nashville with you. whitwillsports.com. Stephen M. Smith, the best MC in the business. I can't bring somebody on unless you do it. I want one of them WWE type entrances. I want a Roman Reigns kind of feel. Do you got that for me? Because we got a big brother in this waiting room ready to erupt on the stage.
Well, he's already committed for Alabama for 2025 straight out of Mississippi, drinking that water out the hose pipe. He's already out there dominating big boy guys, high schools across the world. He already got the biggest fro out here trying to get that thing done. Most importantly, he was taught by 45 Constant on how to lay people out. We got London Simmons.
Big
What's
L,
going
what's
on,
up,
man?
my G?
What is up, man?
I got one question before we get started, London. Are you still a 3-star?
Yes, I am.
Well,
What we gonna do about it?
We're gonna change that very soon.
Well, actually, Smoke works for 247, one of the ranking systems. So you can ask the horse right here. How we get that fixed?
London, Steve Brown here. Marvin asked his question. Now I gotta ask mine. What's up with the hair, man? What's up with the hair?
See, listen, I just got out of practice, so you gotta spare me this one time. You gotta-
Got a little sideshow Bob going on over there. Ain't that wrong?
That's okay, man. Listen,
You looking like a football player, boy.
listen. He's a little bit jealous, London. You have to understand that.
I can see that. I can see that.
Man,
Let's leave him alone, Steve. Let's leave him alone.
before we jump in, man, let's get a quick recap of your season. I have had an opportunity to watch you play live, and my gosh, dude, it's like child abuse when you're going up against those offensive linemen. Dude, it's not even fair, but man, it's things we love to see. Let the audience know how things are going at Hartfield Academy. What's your senior season looking like thus far? And then we'll start jumping into the real stuff.
Well, we started out the season 5-0. I have around 35, 40 tackles, like 10 for loss, and 6.5 sacks right now.
That's what's up, man.
Well, I got to put this in. I only play halftime every game. So
That is true. I saw him at the concession stand getting some Chick-fil-A at halftime. I was like, bro, you don't come sit with me?
He told you not to say that.
Man, listen, my guy was handling his business. That they were shutting down teams. I don't even know why they made the life decision to come to Hartfield. So,
well, we scheduled a lot of teams, but I mean, they didn't want to play us. So
Oh wow, that's
I
what's
wonder
up,
why.
man. I know you're excited about coming to Bama, huh?
Oh yes, sir, for sure.
well, let's jump right into it, man. Listen, you've been to 3 games. None was bigger than this past weekend. You have probably one of the best weekends in terms of your visit. I want you to take us through your time in Tuscaloosa this past Saturday. More importantly, let's talk about the effect that big win over Georgia had on you, as well as the guys who were with you. Man, start us out, man. How was it?
Well, first of all, let's start about it was a blowout in the beginning, but at the end, my heart kind of dropped. You know, everybody's heart dropped. So, so when he scored, when Ryan went, he was coming towards us. So when he scored, like everybody was out their seat. I was jumping up with people I ain't even meet before. I'm laughing with it was crazy. It was insane. It was wild.
That's what's up.
All right, let's go around the room a little bit. Let's ask this man some questions. It's been a while since some of us have seen him. Smoke, lead off. Then we'll turn it to Marvin, down to Steve, and then Steve and M.
I mean, as a former college coach and a general manager of the University of Maryland, whenever I brought in a guy like you that was committed to a big game weekend, that I had some other guys that was kind of on the fence of not wanting to commit, but I knew I had a guy like you that can really recruit.
Right.
Were you put on anybody in order to get that guy to flip? And then if you did see somebody who was a big name that you want to come over and play with you in the 2025 season that was present at the game on Saturday?
Well, I won't say the game on Saturday, but it was the USF game when we played USF, Justice Terry. I was talking with him. I was like, what is it? You know what I'm saying? I was like, you need to come home for sure because we do need him.
There you go.
I love it. Hey, your teammate, we're trying to get him in too.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit later.
I'm in his ear every day. Yeah.
What's the conversation been like with Braylon?
So I was like, you've been to 2 games already. You ain't been nowhere else but Texas A&M. So why not come here? He was, you know how he is. He's stalling and stuff, but I'm trying to get him every day.
Keep working them, big fella. Keep working.
Hey,
got you.
Marvin, what you got for him?
So Saturday's game was, man, it was crazy, back and forth, at second half. What was your biggest takeaway from what you seen defensive line wise in that game, and how do you think you could contribute to whatever it is you've seen on that field?
Definitely keeping the D lineman fresh, you know what I'm saying? Just like 4 come in, then 4 leave out, you know what I'm saying? Just keeping the D lineman fresh and playing the game.
Okay,
Steve.
good answer. My question is kind of like, it's sort of like Marvin's, but it's on a more personal level. What do you bring to Bama? What do you bring to Bama?
I bring somebody that's going to work day in and day out, you know what I'm saying? Somebody that's going to listen, get in the playbook day one, you know what I'm saying? Do my job every day.
That's what's up. I need
You
you to
ready
bring
for
one
the
other
conditioning
thing.
test?
Yeah. Oh, I ain't going to lie. Who was that said that? That was wild.
The
Hey.
conditioning test? Oh, that conditioning test. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, think about it. Ooh.
You want to talk about it? It seems like it impacted your life a little bit there.
I mean, I think about it almost every day. You know, that was.
Hey, man, bring some fear. Bring a lot of fear. But I'm talking about, look, take your helmet off. Let them see that hair. And then put it back on. He crazy. He crazy.
Listen. I'm telling you, you just caught me on an off day. You know what I'm saying? My hair is always like this, but I'm just saying.
No, keep it like that on the field. I know it be late.
He does.
You know, yeah,
I lay it back because, you know what I'm saying, if I lay it up, it's going to smush in my face. So I just lay it back like this and then
all right.
Get the work.
That's how you used to do it, Steve.
That's how I used to do it. Yeah.
Stephen M.
So, London, you being at this game, the atmosphere, the crowd was crazy. Music was jumping. Everybody, the energy was high. Being in that stadium, knowing that you're going to be a part of that really soon, where 100,000 people screaming and you coming out every Saturday to that atmosphere, what type of chills did that send through you?
If I told my coach, I was like, just making a play in an environment like that is crazy. Like, if you don't like football, and if they don't motivate you, I don't know what would, because like just that big crowd and making a big play in that time, like it's second to none.
Wow.
Without question. Did you get a chance to talk to some of the guys after the game? Tim Keenan, he's a part of our family too. He spends a lot of time with us. Has he spent time working with you? Who are some of those guys on that defensive line right now who are kind of speaking in your ear, mentoring you from a distance?
Yeah, definitely. Keelan, the freshman, Beamer, and Tim Key. Yeah, them guys are real cool, especially like loving in, like coming into the environment I'm coming.
No doubt. As far as the connection that you have with Freddie Rhodes, that's something that you've talked about on the last episode that you were here. And I got a chance to talk to your mom about it, and she met him for the first time. She was really comfortable with him. She was really excited about the relationship that's forming there. And she told me that she cannot wait to see what he does for you in terms of development. And the biggest thing to me, she said, was that the comfort she has in sending you to Alabama. She's not just sending you off. She's sending you home. She's sending you to family. Right. Can you talk about that relationship with Freddie Rhodes and what that's meant, and as it continues to grow, just what it means to you?
Yeah, it means a lot to me. You know what I'm saying? Just like him being like kind of a father figure in my life, like it's just like a father type of guy. Like, cause you know when I'm not at home, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna get a little lonely. You know what I'm saying? And him being right there, just like it helps me out a lot. You know what I'm saying? He'll let me know what if I do wrong. You know what I'm saying? It's just stuff like that.
Cool. All right, Marvin, if you would.
Always be the voice of reason. That's the advice I'm going to give you. When I was in school, I'm not going to name my D linemen that were part of said adventure that happened regularly. Them going to CC's Pizzas and other buffets, shutting them down and happy about that. No! Be the voice of reason. Be your own man. Take your destiny into your hands. Know what you need to work on with your game. Practice it till it becomes second nature. When it becomes second nature, it's then a habit. When it's a habit, you then become a force of nature.
Young man, I'm actually very proud of you, man, and I can't wait for them to call your name at Bama. When you hear your name called, you're going to lose it. Trust me when I tell you. I know from experience. They caught me breaking in cars, and the dude knew my name, and I peed on myself. But you know what I'm saying when they call you. Don't worry about it.
He scotch guarded his pants, so he's all right.
So, London, my main thing for you, man, is when you get to Alabama and you see Coach Roach, please do not have him try to put hair extensions into his head. Coach Freddie has already talked about he wants to try to get him some hair extensions because he saw Tim Keenan's hair and he want to get it like that. Keep Freddie away from that, man.
Freddie, he worried about his beard and how good his beard look. He over there. He probably gets some stitches in his beard before he's there. He know his hair is wrapped. It's done with his hair.
Yeah, like Jalen Miro went to Silence Beauty Supply. Yeah, get that stuff out your head.
Well, Freddie has never had hair, so.
Yeah, I know. I seen him in high school. I was like, you look just alike. He was like,
Marvin, we've known him since he was, 14, 13 years old?
Never had hair.
Never had hair. So I don't know. I've never seen him with hair. But you touched on something of being homesick. And irregardless, unless you are Marvin Constant, you're from Tuscaloosa, you're going to be homesick. And that's the key of always going to a school where there is more than one person that you can lean on. Mm-hmm. And if that's not your position coach, that's some of your classmates. Because your classmates are the ones that when times get tough and you want to go home and Coach Roach has done rode you the entire day at practice, not because you're messing up, because he loves you and he cares about you and he wants the best for you. And he's going to ride you just to make sure that he keeps up with you, to make sure that every time that you show up, you're showing up right. So just understand that you're always going to need one more person to lean on when those times get tough, because we all get homesick. I was ready to go home, but I had guys like Marvin Constant that kept me there.
And understand this too, London. The coach that you know during recruiting is not the coach you're going to get once you're on campus.
I know
You know, that's a perfect segue. Why don't you tell him a little bit about what that's going to look like for him? That way he can go ahead and prepare himself mentally. You already gave him you talked about the test earlier that he had his whole life changed over. Why don't you go ahead and give him a little look-see of that?
I'm going to let you experience that all for yourself, but just know that the coach that you know in high school versus the coach once you get on campus, like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, two different people, baby.
I know that's right, Marvin. And then the girls that you knew in high school versus the ones that you see on campus. Let me tell you something. Now,
Whoa. Go ahead, Smoke.
I'll school him up.
I thought we was educating this man. I thought we were.
I'm gonna educate him. I'm gonna educate him on the right things. You're educating him on the correct things, but I'm gonna educate him on the right things. So what Marvin is saying is not that they're not being honest and being truthful on who they are. You're in a courting period right now where they're trying to get you to stay on and still commit and to be at Bama. Once you get there, most of the time that's when the true coaches come out, and that's when you aren't being looked at as the recruit anymore. You're looked at as the player. So now that you're here, it's time to refine all of your skills that you have. And when you're getting refined, sometimes it hurts. Sometimes it's troublesome. Sometimes you don't want to do it. But guess what? That's what they're there for. So it's not that they're not the same coach that recruited you. When they're recruiting you, everything's good. When you're being coached and being challenged on a daily basis, now you're going to be put in some adverse situations. And the same coach that had you in those adverse situations are going to get you out. You just got to open up your ears, open up your eyes, close your mouth, and just get ready to work. That's all.
And understand that a great coach, he knows how to get the best out of his players. He can't motivate you the same way he's going to motivate others and vice versa. He's going to find out what makes you tick, and he's going to push them buttons to get you to tick at your best. So just understand it.
Yeah, and so fellas, can I tell them about the time the girls tied me
up? Diamonds are created in prep. Not the diamonds you're talking about, Steven.
No.
Orange juice down my back.
X-nay on the...
We'll talk, young man. I'm gonna give you my number.
Steven, don't you get us in trouble for tampering here.
What about the hot grits, y'all? Nothing about the hot grits, none of that.
No, that man don't. At breakfast, you know about hot grits, man. Fish and grits.
Oh my God.
I'm trying to help out here.
First of all, London, thank you so much for taking the time right after practice to hang out with us. We talked a little bit about Freddie and your great relationship there, but let's talk about the man in charge, Kalen DeBoer. What ultimately won you over? And talk about your relationship. How has that continued to grow? And what do you like the most from your new coach?
Hey, Justin, real quick, before he answers, Matthew Cherry posed a very good question for him. If you could kind of slide it over when he answers, after he answers.
I will.
All right, so me and DeBoer's relationship is very well. You know what I'm saying? One thing I do like about him is easy to talk to him. Like, he knows his players. You know what I'm saying? It's very easy to talk to him, get a conversation with him, and it's like getting to know him. It's just very good.
That's what's up. All right, we got a couple of questions here from the audience, if you don't mind. Your fan club has already started forming, so let's start out with Linda Derry before we get to Matthew's great question. Linda asks, London, what made Bama your pick and ultimately locked in?
Well, what made me pick Bama was the history, you know what I'm saying, the development part of it, you know what I'm saying, just like playing against the best every day in practice. We talk about like practice, every day in practice, getting better day by day.
All right, good stuff, good stuff. Then Matthew Cherry. He wants me to ask you what makes Alabama's game atmosphere different than the other games, college games that you've been to, and what ultimately stuck out, or made you stick with them. Sorry,
was the crowd. The crowd. You couldn't even hear your own thoughts. Like, it was crazy loud. It was. I didn't. It was wild, crazy. It was so loud. Like, I can't describe it.
No question.
I got a question.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, Steve. What you got for this young man?
You ever had syrup poured over you when you've been rolled in sunflower seeds?
No.
We talking about the parties. We talking about the parties.
No.
You know what? Let's put a pin on that, Steve. Not to discount what you're asking, but Don Parker's got a question for him. Can you tell us how you intend to get to the level you need to play at the Bama Standard of football?
The level I need. Wait. What was the question?
All right. He says, can you tell us how you intend to get to the level you need to in order to play to the Alabama Standard of football?
Yeah, just working every day, day in and day out. You know what I'm saying? Just keeping my same motive. You know what I'm saying? Like, my head high. You know what I'm saying? And rocking it out.
That's what's up.
And hey, this is a guy who backs up everything he says. He's not just giving you Sunday school answers, folks. I've seen him in action. I've seen it play out in the field, albeit just a half of football. But you know what? It's quality football.
If you get to the game late, you won't get to see him.
That's exactly right. So I show up early.
You'll see me. I won't be on the field. I'll be probably at the concession stand. You'll see me there. I'll probably be taking orders or something.
I got you.
You like cheeseburgers?
I do like cheeseburgers. You gotta put some bacon. You know what I'm saying?
No, you gotta let that go, bro.
He got me in the mood.
There's nothing wrong with cheeseburgers, just in moderation. You might need to see about getting you a NIL with Ramajamas, man. They got some awesome cheeseburgers right there beside the stadium, baby.
Hey man, look, we want this man in shape.
Hey man, we also need him to be able to control two gaps, all right?
He can.
What about the wings? There's some wings down there.
Bumhauer's. Have you been to Bumhauer's yet, London?
No, sir.
We're gonna stick to the burgers, all right? We got burgers, baby. Stick to the
man said wings. I'm gonna give a shout out to Bumhauer's Victory Grill when you get there next time.
You ain't gonna throw the Archibalds at him, though.
I told his mama where to go next time. Archibalds, but you definitely got to hit up Bumhauer's. If you're about that wing life, that's where you need to go, man.
Trust me. I was at a party and I got cheese poured on me. Listen, check out them parties too, man. I'm just trying to like
what type of cheese? We talking like cheese sauce, shredded cheese.
Do not engage. Do not engage.
Oh, my bad.
We talking about the parties I be going to. The parties I went to when I was in school.
Man. Well, listen, London, we greatly appreciate you hanging out with us. We hope you enjoyed it more this time than last, and we definitely need to have you back again soon as your season progresses, brother. We're very grateful to have you with the Alabama family. Before you go, tell the folks how they can find you on social media, and if they're here locally, when the next game is, and what time they need to be there.
Homecoming game this week around 7:00. If you want to come, it's gonna be packed, but I will play at halftime.
Okay.
I will play at halftime.
Hey man, we're all proud of you, man. We can't we can't wait till you join the family, man. Roll Tide, brother.
I'll give you one piece of advice before you go. Get that workout book and that playbook as soon as you can, man, and get in them, because the workouts between high school and college is so much variation and difference, man. Just start preparing your body as soon as you can for it. Get in that playbook and understand. So when you get there, you know, it's like second nature to you when you're doing it.
Yeah. Big L, are you going to be an earlier enrollee?
I'm trying to see. It's kind of like hard because I have like a Bible class, so I'm trying to see about that.
So the one thing about that, London, if you can get enrolled early, push for that, because the quicker you get on campus, the quicker you get with Coach Ballou and that strength staff, you get with the new nutritionist, you get with her, you get the body regimen in order. The quicker you get on campus, man, the better the transition.
Oh, so that's in the summer, right? That's in the summer.
Spring.
No, spring. Oh, because I thought it was in the summer, because that's when
January
everybody come dressed in ice cream.
Right. So disregard the ice cream stuff. Here's some of the benefits. All minus just working out. If you're early enrollee, most likely you're gonna get there doing bowl practice. So bowl practice, Steve B, is more like a spring practice. Right. So you'll get a good 15 to 21 practices under your belt. On top of that, you'll start getting in the flow of college and acclimated into college earlier than the other guys are coming, because you're going to be there in January. So you're already going through the winter workout, and now you're going to get another 15 practices in you.
This will be on the scout team, right?
Yes, but that's for spring ball. So he goes from ball practice to winter workout to spring practice. Then you get summer classes. Then you also now get fall practice. So what's happening now, Steve, is you're accelerating everything a year ahead. You can graduate.
Coach, what's the rule on early enrollees? They're not allowed to play in the bowls, though, are they?
They're not allowed to play in the
practice,
but they
can practice.
Right, but they're just not allowed to play in the game.
Correct.
Right.
But that's just as good, because I mean, you get the bowl gifts, you get everything that everybody else is getting, but you also you're there to be able to enroll, and then you can start your NIL. That's a part of it as well too.
And you go to a bowl game and coach say, "Stay off the scooters, stay your ass off the scooters."
If there's a rule in place, chances are it's because of Marvin Constant. Just keep that in mind. Hey, before you leave, tell folks how they can find you on social media. I forgot to get that from you earlier.
My Instagram is L0ND0_ and my Twitter is London Simmons 51.
That's what's up, London. We're proud of you, brother. Thank you for jumping on with us. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, young man. We proud of you, brother.
Big L, take care, brother.
Appreciate it.
I think we changed his life, y'all. What do y'all think?
He's gonna take my advice.
No,
I think so too. I saw that in his eye.
I don't think so, Steve. I don't think so.
Why am I here? We trying to.
No, you're here for a good time, not a hard time.
Yeah, you're the eye candy. That's what it is. All right, listen. Great show so far. We touched up on the Georgia situation. We closed it up pretty well. Got a great guest in London Simmons, the future of Alabama, big disruptor coming to the defensive line. But we still got a game this week. And listen, we got Vandy on the schedule. We're headed to Nashville, probably one of the best cities to ever travel to. And let's talk about how Vandy can possibly pose a threat. Listen, let's go ahead and call it what it is. This isn't the Vandy of the Jefferson Pilot sports days. This is a different team.
You remember that Jefferson Pilot? Oh my God!
Hey, everybody used to hate being at the JP game at 11 a.m.
Hey, Justin, Raycom Sports.
Raycom Sports. That's it, baby. Charles Davis.
Here goes a crazy one. That was Marvin Constant and I's first collegiate game. Was here.
Vanderbilt.
Yep.
The JP game, baby.
Yep.
But yeah, this isn't the Vanderbilt of our day at all. They've changed a lot. They are very well coached, and we're going to talk a lot about what Clark Lee is going to be bringing to the table. And there's some things we really need to pay attention to going into Nashville. The first thing I want to touch on, listen, we are probably the most celebrated football team in America right now. The press clippings are saying we are en route to another national title. The national title is Bama's. All they have to do is show up. Jalen Milroe moved to the Heisman #1 in the race. And now they're saying Jalen Milroe, #1 in the NFL draft, possibly. We got a lot going on, but here's the problem. This is what Nick Saban warned us against, the rat poison, i.e. breeding complacency. Let's talk about that and how this can kind of play a role in derailing things. Stephen M., I want you to start out with us. Like I've said earlier, you are the eyes and ears. Your boots to the ground. You're spending time with the coaches, the staff, and the players. How often is complacency being talked about in these conversations? And what's your feel for it this week?
That word has been mentioned a lot in terms of don't get sucked into it. Where I walked out of Monday's pressers between the Coach DeBoer and both coordinators, there were 4 rat traps inside the building. And the reason why those rat traps were placed there, Josh Chapman actually did it. Chapman put those there strategically, and he comes up behind each player and go, trap game this week, trap this week, don't fall for the trap, trap game this week, don't fall for it. And Josh Chapman is already putting in the minds of these athletes, do not take Vanderbilt lightly. You came off a huge win against Georgia, emotional win against Georgia. Everybody was talking about it. It was built all the way up. Now you're facing a Vanderbilt team that's not going to have much TV fare. This is not going to be highly discussed. You're on the road, but Vandy's a good football team. They got a quarterback, Diego Pavia. That kid's a baller. Diego's a baller. And he presents kind of an option attack, but he's highly dual threat quarterback. So this is what Alabama has been stressing the whole week. Do not fall for the trap here. Keep your mind focused. And Malachi Moore had the greatest point today. Malachi said, we are not satisfied about nothing. We played Georgia. We beat Georgia. That's cool. But we ain't satisfied about nothing. We got another game coming up that we got to be locked in for.
Absolutely. Great segue into our opening topic. Let's talk about Diego Pavia, the offense. If you're a numbers guy, nothing's going to jump off the page in terms of what they're ranked nationally. They're actually ranked number 96 in total offense. Where they actually do things well is in the red zone. They're actually tied for 14th in the nation right now. But the option attack can be very frustrating. You have to be dialed in, disciplined. You cannot be indecisive at all. So we need to know how we're going to be able to attack that option offense. And what I want to do now is pass it off to Smoke. Let's kind of talk about that. If you and Marvin would kind of lead us through the steps it takes into shutting this down, but also getting people in the right place in order to come out of Nashville without any kind of damage.
Well, just to put a little bit more context to the whole idea of the unorthodox offense from Tim Beck. And I was also on the Vanderbilt staff when Clark Lee got hired as the head coach. I ran his personnel, Barton Simmons and I. So this is the third coordinator that Clark's hired. And sitting down and talking to Clark this summer, the reason why he went with Tim Beck was because of unorthodox offense. And he always wanted to make sure that whatever team came in here, he knew that talent-wise, he wasn't going to be able to sit there and play with them head-to-head. So he had to create a scheme adjustment and a scheme disadvantage. And that's based from Tim Beck's option attack. So what Marvin and I are going to do right now is just take you through from the defensive view going against their offense. And from what a lot of people don't understand is this is probably what Bama's going to see more two running backs and 2 tight end offense more than they've seen all year. And when you're going against the option attack, the thing that you have to be is very detailed, and you have to be gap sound and responsible for your areas. Gap sound, gap integrity, and responsible for your assignment. This is an assignment-driven team. The second that you're out of your gap, in terms of defense, A, B, or C gap, Diego and that offense will take advantage of it. So, Marvin, I'm going to start it out in terms of talking about the front four guys. That's the defensive end, defensive tackle, the other tackle, and other defensive end. Then I'm going to kick it back to you, and all we're going to go through is just the triple option effect that they start their base of their offense. The triple option is, the first option is the running back going through. That's option number one. The second option is the quarterback keeping the ball. The third option is a throw or pitch to the edge. Now, the job for the defensive end is always playing the outside half of the running back, the inside half of the quarterback, then also to flow to the ball, being the third guy. So you have to do your first two jobs first before you can go to number three. Now, when we talk about both defensive tackles, their job is to make sure that they tackle the dive. Or whoever comes through the A gap, that's the gap closest to the guard, that they tackle that guy every single time, no matter what.
Shut it down.
He doesn't have the ball, you have to do that. And that's both defensive tackles and both defensive ends. Now, Marvin, going back to the second layer, this is where you come involved and give us a point of view from what vision that you see as a second level defender and what your responsibilities are.
First and foremost, I ain't never count on those defensive tackles to make the tackle. Those two backers, man, they got to be gap sound and they got to play off of each other. Because, again, you don't know what you're going to get in two tight ends, whether the ball's going to go right, whether it's going to go left. You don't know. And so if you're the strong side backer and it comes to your side, that backside wheel, he better control that backside A gap and potentially that front side A gap, depending upon how fast that ball is moving, with that Mike backer having to get over the top and fit with that end, depending upon what the quarterback decides to do with that ball, and vice versa if it's going the other way. So those two guys got to play off each other first and foremost. And again, I ain't never counting on the defensive tackle to make that tackle. As backers, you better be where you're supposed to be in one of those A gaps on that option, because otherwise, in that defense, you're going to see gains of 5 to 7, potentially 8 yards, put them in second and 2, second and 3. When a team's in second and 2, second and 3, it changes the offensive coordinator's dynamics on what he can call. So you want to keep him out of that. But again, that goes back to controlling both A gaps, and if the ball is coming to their side, fitting over the top with that end to make that tackle, depending upon whether the quarterback runs the ball or pitches the ball.
Now, in my past lifetime, I worked as a pass game coordinator at Citadel. And when I worked at the Citadel, we faced two option teams every single year. And the third one you can say is Wofford. But Wofford plays the option, or runs the option closer to what Vanderbilt does. So we played against Georgia Southern, that ran the option, and Wofford that ran the option. And then at the Citadel, we did it every single day. I remember back in, I forget what year was that, Justin, 2000 and Bama played against Georgia Southern. What year was that?
And they gave Alabama hell with that option.
That was 2011 smoke.
2011, and Jeremy Pruitt, we have just beaten Georgia Southern and also Wofford. And Jeremy Pruitt got me on the phone, and we're sitting there, we're talking. And we're just like we're talking now, and I was just talking responsibility. And the thing that I told Pruitt at that time, I said, Pruitt, what you don't want is you don't want your linebackers or anybody thinking that they have to make the play. They just have to make the plays that come to them. Just do your responsibility every single time. And I know, Marvin, you say you're not counting on the defensive tackles to make that tackle every single time. But the second that the option team understands that you're being nosy and you're not going into your gap every single time, that's now where the big plays show up and the explosive plays show up. So everyone has to do their job. That's what the option attack forces you to do. You can't play like you want to, fast, aggressive, and get to the ball. The ball is not the issue. The man is the issue. The ball is going to go where the ball is going to go.
I have a concern.
Hold on. If you attack that option, you're going to get burned. If you start getting upfield too fast and trying to attack that thing, it is going to burn you, and it is going to burn you royally.
Well, here's my concern.
Go ahead.
You guys just pointed out that you cannot overplay it. You can't attack it. You're going to get burned. And we have one player in particular that kind of overruns plays, and he doesn't hit his gap. That's number 0, agent 0. He will overrun the play, or he will, kind of.
But that's where the option makes you play honest. And when you're a good player, it's almost like you have to debug yourself.
Right.
This ain't the game that you want to go out and make 30 tackles and get ready for the draft. You're just
You
trying
gotta
to
wait till it come to you. You gotta wait till it come to you, pretty much.
It's going to come to you. And how you want to play the option is you want everybody on a flat line. The defensive line, straight line across. That means they can't read you and they have no seams. On the second level, you want to be at the straight line as well. And once you get out to the edges, don't get nosy. If you're a pitch and assigned to pitch, play the pitch. If you're assigned to the receiver, and this is where they get you, they're only going to pass the ball maybe 10 to 15 times. But those 10 to 15 times are explosive plays because they're waiting on number 3, Keon Sabb, to put his eyes in the backfield. Malachi saying, I have to make this play. I have to make this play. Putting your eyes in the backfield. And then that's when those guys get behind you because you get sucked up on pitch. Now you got the pass. Go ahead.
And not only that, when a team is successful at running that option and they see that you're getting extremely aggressive, you're going to see a screen away from that option. Oh, and it's going to be deadly.
So it's a run pass option.
Oh, yeah. The option, like I said, it has 3 threats.
Okay.
Right? You got the running back coming through, the quarterback's the second option, and either they're flat pitching it or they can throw it. That's the third option that they always have.
But if they're in a 2 tight end set, though, Steve, that backside tight end away from that option, that's an easy setup on a screen pass away.
I want to get Stephen M. Smith involved here. I know you got your hand up there, Stephen. And before you ask that question or interject, let's talk about certain players against this offense. They're going to be very critical. Guys like Q Robinson, Keanu Coot, Quay Russaw. Talk about what kind of day they need to have to shut this Vandy offense down and never really get the motor going.
All those guys need to, especially Q Rob and Quay, because those are your main 2 up front. Q Rob's your wolf and Quay's your wolf. So both of those 2 edges, they have got to shut that down. But they've got to shut it down in a way to where they're not even allowing the option to reach the edge. Right? They're turning that option back inside to where Deontay Lawson, you've got to be ready. Jihad Campbell, you've got to be ready. So for Quay and Q-Rob, their focus is what Saban taught during his time here. You control your outside. You control your outside to where either you can make that tackle on the outside, or even if you can't, stretch it out enough to where that guy sees your presence. He can establish an outside on you, and that forces that inside backer, okay, it's coming back to me. I got to be in my gap. At least the inside backer, I got to be in my gap, or the cornerback comes down and he hits that gap.
Absolutely. Hey, real quick, we got to give a shout out to Don Parker, $10. Thank you, brother. Yes, Diego Pavia is a baller. Bama's defense will need to play sound assignment football. This game can get interesting. Hopefully, lessons have been learned, and we see Bama play to the standard. Y'all forgot to mention one thing about the option offense is one of the biggest dangers it presents is bleeding a whole lot of clock. So that's something we need to be very mindful of. Don't let them dictate the rate of play in this game. So let's move over to the defense. Clark Lee has got a solid defense, but again, if you're a numbers person, you're not going to exactly be wild. They're number 54 total defense. They're slightly better, 51 against the run. Against the pass, not so good. They're ranked number 71. That kind of plays into what we want to do, but this look beyond the numbers. We got a great coach. We've already started talking about him, or Smoke rather has been talking about him. Talk to us about that Clark Lee defense, what he's going to put into play to kind of trip up Alabama and that high-powered offense. Smoke, take the baton right now and talk to us about what we really need to be looking for from Clark Lee.
Well, knowing Coach Lee for the last 4 years, and he was a defensive coordinator at Notre Dame when Bama played Notre Dame in that national championship semifinal game a few years ago. What Clark is going to do, Clark is a bright mind, one of the better sound coaches in college football. Him being the head coach, he also went back and took over the defense for the simple fact that he wanted to make sure that guys played with discipline. He's a disciplined coach. And his main thing is always taking away what you do well and make sure that you play left-handed and also play to your weakness. So He's going to make sure that he controls Jalen Milroe's ability to get on the edge in terms of being a dynamic playmaker and force Jalen Milroe to play inside of the pocket. But also what he's going to do is he's going to make sure that they play from deep to short, give Alabama those 10-yard catches, make sure that Alabama has to get a 12 to 15 play drive just to score. And when they get in the red zone or the green zone, maybe those penalties pop up again, undisciplined penalties pop up where they back them up and force them to kick field goals. But this game is going to be played at a slow pace and a controlled pace. That's the only way that he knows that his team has a true advantage and a true chance of winning this football game.
Without question. Steve Brown, before we wrap this whole topic on Vandy up, what is your main concern? You be the one to button this up for us. What do you need to see from Bama this week?
Well, my concern is complacency. Of course, we are concerned about that, and just playing Bama football. I personally, if Smoke is right, I think that they are going to try to take away Jalen Milroe, but I want to personally see what happens to Ryan Williams when somebody actually lowers the boom on him. This is going to happen sooner or later. And I just want to see, what happens, how he comes back from it. And you guys, we all know what happens. Sometimes they'll go to the locker room mentally and check out, or they'll come out and do what they need to do. But go ahead. You about to say something, Smoke?
Steve, I helped put that team together. They don't have a horse over there that can run in that track with Ryan or any of the guys at Bama.
So what you're saying is you are the one that pretty much sealed their doom.
No. We help.
He's an inside man.
Yeah, you're the inside man.
I'm on the inside operating out. But
I'm just saying if he gets caught out there and somebody lower the boom on him, you know what I'm saying? I know he's a baller, this and that, but I want to see how he reacts to that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but just remember this though, Steve. He's not in our era. Like when you go across the middle these days, you don't have to worry about getting hit hard.
Right.
Because guys are being coached to tackle properly. And they're not as reckless. Because if they come in there flying head first and they hit with the crown of their helmet,
they're out of there.
Yeah, they're out for this game and the next half of the next game. So, going across the middle when we played was a badge of courage. Like I ain't going across the middle because Marvin's over there. Marvin's gonna light me up. Or Marcus Spencer or Tony Dixon or Reggie Miles when we played back in the secondary at Bama.
Right.
Nowadays, you catch it, guys are going to just try to form tackle you and put you down the ground. Or go for the interception. So I hear what you're saying, but I think Bama needs to run the ball in this game.
Exactly. Now my last concern is this, and y'all can correct me. And now they run the triple option, right? So
they run a version of it. It's not the old school Georgia Southern under center B back with two guys off the edge. They line up in the gun with two backs next to them, and they give you a version of it, and it's the same thing.
I get that.
They bring the receiver in motion, and now that receiver becomes the third option, and one of the running back becomes the blocker on the force.
Because I remember when Bama played Georgia Southern, when they were running the option, they were doing a lot of chop blocking. So I'm concerned about that. That's what I'm concerned about, the injuries.
No more. You can't cut block now on the perimeter, inside going out. You can't cut block anymore.
I think that's my biggest concern now. So you can't do that now because they were doing a lot of cut blocking when they played Bama.
Right, and that's what's somewhat outlawed, and a lot of the old school option teams aren't playing in the traditional way because their advantage was always cutting what we call the force. The guy that's the pitch guy. They would cut him on the edge. Now you have to go up and form block them, stand up. That's why you don't see a lot of offensive linemen going out there and shooting for those ankles anymore. They have to stay up and block. There's no more cut blocking.
Well, I'm good.
All right, before we move into predictions and players of the game, Stephen M. Smith, we need to hear from you. You came in a little bit late, but that's okay. We're still blessed to be in your presence, sir. We need to address the injury report. How is Kendrick Law? Are there any other players who have bumps and bruises that we need to know about? Where is Quay Russaw in terms of health? Is he back to 100%? These are things the fans need to know going into this game. What you got for me?
Well, first and foremost, with Quay, big ups to Jeff Allen, right? Jeff Allen got Quay on the field against Georgia. Quay had 24 snaps, had the big forced fumble there in the second half. Quay is fine. He's fine. He had the bye week. Of course, got rested up. Great job by Jeff Allen. Quay is fine. Kendrick Law had a bump on the trick play. He's okay. He's fine. Kendrick Law, he's fine. He's good. Tim Keenan, a little nick, a little banged up, got a little bump there. He's okay. He'll be back out in practice. He'll be back in practice this week because they started on today. The only one that I'm looking at right now that I want to get more clarity from Kalen DeBoer is Justin Jefferson, because I think he was seen in a boot after the Georgia game. So that's the only one I kind of want more clarity on. Keenan's fine. Law's fine. Quay's fine. Justin Jefferson's the one, but I'll be speaking to DeBoer about tomorrow in the SEC Coaches Teleconference.
Smoke. Y'all, let me tell y'all something about this Justin Jefferson kid. I watched him. That is a boomer. That is that he lays that hat.
Steve, you said Ryan Williams getting laid out. Ryan Williams told me Jefferson was the one that laid him out when fall camp first started.
I'm telling you, man, that's a boomer, man. That's a
but
boomer.
Is he Marvin Constant though?
I think so. Almost.
You know what? I'm not going to put him in that same classification as Marvin. Now, Marvin may have told him, but I'm not going to put him in the same classification as Marvin.
I said almost.
Marvin not in the top 5 guys that came with that wood and hit hard during our time that was there. He's a distant. He's probably top 10, but you ain't top 5. You know.
But I'm going to say, I'll put it like this: of the team we got right now, he's clearly the root and foster of this team. He's that Justin Jefferson guy.
Hey, Justin, can I throw one name out to Marvin and see what is?
Yeah, get a reaction on Marvin. He's been too quiet for too long. We need to get the energy.
Brooks Daniels.
Oh, Brooks brung that wood. Yeah,
Brooks is the hardest hitting.
102 pounds soaking wet.
In my life.
Who is
Brooks Daniels, number
Brooks
18.
Daniels, bro.
Yeah.
Nah, I gotta go.
Probably had a sack of potatoes that weighed more than him, but he brung it.
Steve, I'm gonna put it to you like this. I've seen Brooks Daniels. Remember Travis Stevens, the running back for
Tennessee? Yeah.
He hit Travis Stevens so hard, Travis's helmet flew off and went left. His earpiece went right. Travis went backward. Travis turned around and walked towards us, threw up right in front of me, and went back.
Hey, as a matter of fact, you know what? I'm going to tell you somebody else who be delivering blows, but they do it on the offensive end. Did y'all see when, I think it was an option play or whatever, and the guy tried to hit Jam Miller and Jam hit him, and the guy's helmet flew off. And his helmet flew off, and Jalen Miller ran for the touchdown. His helmet flew off.
That's the reason why Nick Sheridan give him the ball more. When you see Jam come face to face and took him out,
yeah, man.
You give him the ball more. You give Justice the ball more.
5 carries. That's what he had. 5.
All right.
Man, let me tell you something, man.
We need to move on to the next topic.
And my Stephanie's cousin helmet flew off. No, go ahead.
I'm glad you're in a mood of naming players, because this fits right into our final segment, the predictions and players of the game. It's what the fans love to see. So let's go around the room real quick. Give me a score and give me your players of the game. Start us out, Steve Brown, then Stephen M. Smith, then Marvin Constant, and Smoke will close us out.
42-14 defensive player if he plays Justin Jefferson. I'm sold on that guy. Or Malachi Moore. Those just my 2 guys. Of course, I would like to see what the offensive player of the game is actually players. Jam and Justin in the offensive line. We need to run. We need to get them acclimated. So yeah.
Okay. Chat, get involved too. Drop your players of the game. Drop your scores. We need to get you involved. Stephen and Smith, what you got?
Score prediction, I got 45-7. I think Alabama cleans up a lot more, this week. So 45-7. Offensive player of the game. Give me C.J. Dupree. C.J. had his best game as an Alabama player last week. I think the offense knows we got to get him the ball. When we get that tight end involved, it opens up a whole lot. So I think C.J.'s growing in confidence. I think he's my offensive player of the game. My defensive player of the game, I'm going to go in the secondary. Not the secondary. Yeah, no, I'm going to go in the secondary. I'm going to go Xavier Brown. I'm going to go Xavier Brown in the secondary. He sat there. He got picked on a lot against Georgia. Did not get called for a penalty. Wasn't phased. At the very end, he put the final piece together. He turned his head, trusted technique, got the pick, and that's going to grow him. So I go CJ Dupree, Xavier Brown.
Marvin.
I'm going to go 38-3 defensive player. I'm going to take Quay. Offensive player, I think we're going to see a breakout game from Law this game.
Ooh,
time to
I
get
love
involved.
Smoke.
You know what? Vandy still might be on the hook for paying me some money, so I'm going to go ahead and keep the score to myself.
Well, okay, let's change it up then, Smoke. What do you want to see? Ultimately, what do you want the takeaway to be for you from Alabama to make you feel good about going into South Carolina?
Going into South Carolina, I want to see Alabama be able to establish the run game and average over 6 yards per carry. And that's not with the quarterback run. Traditional downhill inside zone, thick duo blocks. It's a double team between those two guard in the center, and get up to the second level and move those guys on Vanderbilt's defensive line and get my man Jam Miller 150 plus yards and 3 touchdowns. And then we can start going to the conversation of Alabama team natty SEC.
Hey, Smoke, I got one question for you.
Talk to me.
Will South Carolina's quarterback play? And if he does, will he not be the best quarterback Alabama will have faced all season?
No.
Yes. No.
I mean, to this point, will he have been the best quarterback?
No.
No, I still think Carson Beck is the best, but
did you not see how he lit up LSU?
That dude is nice. What you're saying, Marvin, is I think you're talking about Lenore Sellers.
That starter, I don't know what his name is. I just know he got hurt against LSU. That kid was playing some ball this season before he got hurt.
But it was LSU.
Yeah, well, here's
even
what
before
he does
LSU.
a little bit.
Kentucky.
Here's what he does a little bit different than Carson Beck. He puts a lot of pressure on your defensive coordinator and a lot of pressure on your linebacker and your overall defense because he has the ability to run. And when you have a mobile quarterback, that now puts a ton of stress on you as a defense. So yes, in terms of his ability to affect the game, but you still gave up over 400-something yards against Carson Beck in the second half.
All right. I'm going to close it out. I say Bama 42, Vanderbilt 13. Offensively, run the damn ball. Jam Miller 150, just like Smoke said. Defensive side of the ball, I want to see Keanu Coot actually make a big name for himself in this game. That's what I'm going to go with. All right, well, let me back up. We got other shows on this network. We need to talk about them. When we go off, the party don't stop. 8 p.m. Central tonight, we got the final whistle. And then tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Central, we got the Crimson Dynasty with C. Payne, Justin J.B. Baines, and Dan, the man, James. And then the nightcat with Teague's Take, 8:15 p.m. Central. Going to be looking at some film. For those film heads, you've got to watch that. So please tune in. Saturday, immediately following the game, the Bama Standard post-game show. Join us for that. And then Sunday night, I want you to tune in for Sunday Night Talking Bama. That's at 7 p.m. Central. All right, let's go around the room. Promote what you got. How do people find you on social media? Marvin, Constant, start us out.
You can find me on Instagram, Constant45, Twitter, Constant451. I ain't hard to find.
Steve Brown, tell us what you got coming up. Some shows, if people in your area, how they can find you, and then social media.
This Saturday, I'll be in Clarksville, Tennessee at the Comedy House, wherever the hell that is. But I'll be there. You can find me on Instagram, kind of Steve Brown, one word. And, of course, on Facebook, my comedian Steve Brown fan page. All at me.
Smoke.
Well, you know what? You got a beautiful ticker found right underneath, right there at the bottom. I know y'all can see it.
Why you got to be lazy?
Coach.
Yeah, mine is wrong, by the way. It should just be Big Comic Steve Brown, not 2. I don't know what 2 comes from.
Coach GV Dixon. You can find me on X and on Instagram. You coming up to Clarksville up this way?
Saturday.
Saturday? You want to stick around for the game?
We can do it.
All right, the game's at 3:00.
Okay, the show is. You mean the game where? You mean the Bama game?
Yeah,
Nashville.
How far is that? You know, I'm flying into Nashville.
45 minutes up the road. Straight up 45 minutes 24 west.
Let's talk about it. Let's
do
about
it.
it.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna storm the field naked.
Stephen M. Smith.
Find me on X, Coach M. Smith. You can also find me tdalabama.com. Tomorrow I'll be in the SEC Coaches Teleconference with Coach DeBoer to get the final piece of the report, of the updates. We can make sure all of our guys are playing this Saturday against Vandy in Nashville.
Sounds great. Hey, we appreciate everyone being a part of this fantastic show tonight. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to London Simmons. Shout out to this fantastic crew. Hey, if you're watching it for the first time on X or Twitter, go to our YouTube channel, the Bama Standard Network. Subscribe. Be a part of the family. Turn on those notifications so you don't miss a single part of this action. That is going to do it for us. We will see you Saturday immediately following the game. But until then, let's shout those two magical words. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Let's get Stephen another chair.
Nah.